We wish you a merry math class. We wish you a merry math class and learn integers.
Great job, guys. That's my third period class.
Hi.
And they decided to sing you a little math carol today. So we're going to continue our work with integers. So you guys are in a pretty good spot here. We're just going to review your homework, which was on page 6, quickly, and then we're going to move on with learning about integers when it relates to elevation, okay? So express each situation as an integer in the space provided. A gain of 56 points in a game. What would that be, Kaylin?
Positive 56.
Very good. And we don't have to write the plus sign for positive, so we can just write 56. All right. A fee charged of $2, Roberto.
That's going to be negative 82.
It just says 2 there, bud.
Okay, 2.
I think you're reading the dollar sign there. That's a dollar sign, okay? So negative 2. A temp of 32 degrees below 0. Sophia.
Negative 32.
Very good. A 56-yard loss in a football game. Cadence.
Negative 56.
Very good. The freezing point of water in Celsius. Amaya.
0.
0. A $12,500 depository. Yep, very good. Is 0 a positive or a negative integer? Ava?
Neither.
Trick question. All right, anyway, let's look at this next set of questions here. You can't, I don't know, this is a really messed up thermometer, so we're not doing questions 3, 4, or 5 on this page. I don't know what happened, but something got turned upside down, literally. No, it got flipped, actually. Yeah, on mine it's messed up too. No, because look at the numbers are written backwards. But anyway, I'm not sure what happened, but something happened with the printing process. So each sentence is stated incorrectly. That means they are wrong, okay? Rewrite the sentence to correctly describe each situation. So I'm going to give you an example of something you wouldn't say in English. You would not say, I don't have no homework. Okay, that's a grammatically incorrect statement, right? So what makes that wrong? What makes it incorrect? Sophia? I said I don't have no homework. Very good, because we call that using a double negative, right? And you don't want to use a double negative because it kind of like negates the other one, and it doesn't sound right. So these are double negatives. It says the temperature is negative 10 degrees Fahrenheit below 0. You got too much going on there, so you got to pick one. Do you want to say the temp is negative 10 degrees Fahrenheit, or do you want to say the temp is 10 degrees Fahrenheit below 0?
Negative.
You could pick either one of those, right? So we've got to choose. So one way you could do this is cross this out and just make it say this. The temp is negative 10 degrees Fahrenheit. The other way you could say that, for example, is the temp is 10 degrees Fahrenheit below 0. All right, we want to keep it a temperature that is negative 10, but there's 2 ways of wording that, okay? Yeah, both are correct. You could have done it the first way or the second way. Part B says the temperature is negative 22 degrees Celsius below 0. So what's one way we could fix that? How can we fix that second statement? Sophia?
The temperature is 22 degrees below 22 degrees Fahrenheit below 0.
Can you say that again?
The temperature is 22 degrees Fahrenheit Celsius below 0.
Very good. All right, so you want to write it as, let's say, the temp is 22 degrees Celsius below 0. So you want to get rid of the negative sign in front of the 22. All right, that's one way. That's correct. We could do it that way. What's the other way we could do that, Kaylin?
The temperature is negative 22 degrees Celsius.
Yep, and just end it there. So we're going to cut off this extra double negative there. Any questions on that? Okay, so pretty easy. The next questions we're not going to do because it's messed up on the thermometer. So let's go on to another scenario where you will see positive and negative numbers and where you need to recognize the different wording that goes with positive numbers and negative numbers. So it says the picture below shows 3 different people participating in activities at 3 different elevations. I'm going to be your partner here. All right, so we've got I'm hiking, so I'm above sea level. I've got I'm sailing, so I'm at sea level. And I'm scuba diving, so I'm below sea level. So we're going to decide if these are positive or negative or something else, all right? The hiker, what do you think? You think he's at positive elevation, negative elevation, something else, Campbell?
Positive.
Yep, let's put a plus sign by the hiker because if he's climbing a mountain, he's up there, all right? I'm sailing, so I'm at sea level. Sailing away, sailing away. All right, go ahead.
Positive.
Nope, it's not. I wouldn't expect you to know this, but
0.
it's 0, yeah. It is 0. At sea level is an elevation of 0. And I'm scuba diving, so I'm below sea level. Is that positive or negative? Ava.
Negative.
Very good, negative. Okay. All right, so now we're going to take these situations and turn them into integers. It says, use the following information to answer the questions. A scuba diver is 30 feet below sea level. How would I write that? Manson. You may use the bathroom after you answer this question.
Negative 30.
There you go. Go ahead. Negative 30. The sailor is at sea level. Lola. 0. And the hiker is 2 miles above sea level. Kaylin?
10,560.
Huh? What?
No, it
10,560.
says right here.
You want a positive? Yes. All right. So you chose the feet. I would have just done 2 for the miles. But if you're Kaylin and you want to be a little extra, do 10,560. All right. Any questions on this? All right. Let's keep going here. Now we have a thermometer. So number lines can be oriented either horizontally or vertically. This is which one? Is this horizontal or vertical?
Vertical.
It's vertical. Yep, it's going up and down. So it says use an appropriate scale. So that's the number we're going to count by for each mark on the side there. To graph each of the following situations on the number line to the right, write an integer to represent both situations. A hiker is 15 feet above sea level, and we have to write down that a diver is 20 feet below sea level. So what do you guys think an appropriate scale would be? Peyton?
5.
5s, yeah, I agree. So let's put a 0 over here to the left, and then we're going to count by 5s. So 5, 10, 15, 20. And below 0 are going to be negative numbers, right? So negative 5, negative 10, negative 15, and negative 20. All right, so if we have to if we have to indicate that a hiker is 15 feet above sea level, that's going to go right here. I'm going to put a dot. I'm going to write hiker. All right, and what's the integer that will go with that hiker? Amaya? 15, yep. And a diver is 20 feet below sea level. What will go with that? 20 feet below sea level. Someone I haven't heard from. Calvin.
20 feet below.
What's the integer? If you had to write that as a number, in a positive or negative, what would it be?
Negative 20.
There you go, negative 20. All right, let's plot that over here on the thermometer. Negative 20, we're going to call that the diver. And what could I write at 0? Ava.
Sea level?
Very good, sea level. That is sea level. All right, we have to make sure we're reading the directions of these things correctly on your homework. The directions change, but this is another situation where you're dealing with double negatives and you've got to make sure you pick one, okay? Do you want to say that it's below sea level, or do you want to say the elevation is negative, whatever, okay? So we've got to make a choice here. We can't have both. For each statement, there are two related statements, 1 and 2. Determine which related statement, 1 or 2, is expressed correctly and circle it. Then correct the other related statement so that both parts 1 and 2 are stated correctly. Essentially, we need to figure out which one's right and which one's wrong, and then fix the one that's wrong, okay? So a submarine is submerged 800 feet below sea level. That's our situation. So the first statement is the depth of the submarine is negative 800 feet below sea level. What do you guys think?
That's wrong.
Who says it is correct? Who says it is wrong? All the hands went up. It is, you guys are correct that it's incorrect. So this is incorrect. We need to fix it. How could I go about fixing that so that it is worded appropriately? It's not a double negative if we fix it, right? What can we do to make it a non-double negative? Campbell.
The depth of the submarine is 800 feet below sea level.
Okay, let's change that then. So let's write the depth of the sub, I'm just going to write of the sub, is 800 feet below sea level. There's another option as well. So he opted to make the negative number there go away and have it say below sea level, right? We have another option. Kaylin, what's our other option?
Just take away below sea level.
Very good. So we could just take this out up here and end the sentence right there, okay? So let's make sure this next one is correct. It says 800 feet below sea level can be represented by the integer negative 800. Is that an okay statement? Yep, it's perfectly said. Okay? Any questions on those? All right, the next part says the elevation of a coral reef with respect to sea level is given as negative 150 feet. The coral reef is 150 feet below sea level. We have to decide, is that good or bad? Thumbs up if you think it's good. It is good. Nice job, guys. So that one is correctly worded. You have 150 feet below sea level, and the below sea level comment is what tells you it's a negative number. All right, the depth of the coral reef is negative 150 feet below sea level. What do you think? Thumbs up, thumbs down? Process of elimination tells us that one's wrong anyway, right? Cadence, what can we do to change that?
You can write the depth of the coral reef is 150 feet.
Well, you changed the number then to 150 feet. You're saying that's above sea level then if you're changing it like that.
Below sea level?
Yep, so we've got to keep, if we're taking out the negative symbol in front of the 150, we've got to make sure people know it's negative by writing below sea level. All right, so the depth of the coral reef is 150. So she's writing this as a positive now, but to make sure people know it's below sea level, she's got to indicate that by writing below sea level. Oops, feet below sea level. That's one option. What else could we do? Ava.
You could just take away the low sea level.
Very good. The depth of the coral reef is 150 feet, and take this out. Oh, I'm sorry, negative. Negative 150 feet. Thank you. All right, any questions on how to make sure things are not a double negative? You know how to fix things that are a double negative? You have to pick one way of indicating that it's negative. Either by putting a negative sign in front of the number or taking out the below sea level in that case, okay? Any questions? Question, Haley? No, just a stretch. Okay, we're going to go to the next page, which is your homework. So I'm going to quickly review what the expectations of this are. Who wants to read the directions for problem 1? Tori, nice and loud.
Write an integer to match the following descriptions.
Very good. So an integer is what again?
Positive or negative number.
Number, yeah. So I had some kids in other classes just write positive or negative. You got to make sure you have the number, okay? So make sure you have the number for part 1, A through F. Part 2, 3, and 4 have this situation. This says, for problems 2 through 4, read each statement about a real-world situation and the 2 related statements in parts A and B carefully. Circle the correct way to describe each real-world situation. Possible answers include either A, B, or both A and B. So could they both be correct? Yes. So we need to be careful with that. A lot of kids are probably just going to pick one like we did in class. So one may be right, they both may be right. You'll have to go through and check. Okay? Now it says, oh, it doesn't tell you to correct it. It doesn't. But, all right, number 5 says a credit of $35 and a debit of $40 are applied to your bank account. You have to decide what's an appropriate scale to graph a credit of $35 and a debit of $40 and explain your reasoning. So you got to figure out what would you count by on that number line so that you could make sure you easily showed 35 credit and a debit of $40, okay? And then explain why you picked that. It doesn't have to be a very detailed explanation, just, you know, what's your thought behind it. Part B, what integer represents a credit of $35 if 0 is the original balance? And explain yourself. What integer describes a debit of $40 if 0 represents the original balance? And explain. And D, what does 0 represent in the situation? All right, so don't overcomplicate these guys, just remember, think of the words we learned with the banking, right? If it's going to be positive, we know we're going to see certain words, and it means think about what it's going to do to the account balance, right? If it's something that's going to increase the account, then obviously it's a positive number, etc. So maybe you can use some of that info to help with your explanations. What questions do you have? All right, so what's your homework? Page 9, yep, whole thing, okay? Right now you have a Google Classroom quiz to do. So I'm going to stop the video. I'd like to say thank you to my 3rd period class for doing their lovely math caroling. I'd like to thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And bye.